Okay, shalom. Alright, shalom. I want to start off by saying Call Alim Lav, Yahweh Yahushai. Okay. And shit's in the fan. Alright. Okay, things are getting hotter out there in the Middle East. Alright. You know, and you so-called blacks and Hispanics need to wake up to who you are. Alright, you need to wake up to your nationality. Okay, your race, your ethnos, right? Your ethnicity. You need to come back to the light of the Lord and right, and pretty much repent, because things are about to get really, really bad out here. Okay, it's pretty much the end of this age, the end of this world. Okay, and things are gonna get really, really bad. Okay, but you know, and I didn't have anything prepared, like a lesson specifically, so I just, you know, I'm gonna go through some of these scriptures, okay, that I was meditating upon. All right, because you know, the Lord's about to judge the serpent, okay, which is the so-called white man, the Edomite people, okay, and there's about to be some serious judgments for the other nations as well, okay. But I wanted to touch a little bit on the vileness of Edom. Okay, and I'll see where it goes from there, man. But let me see. Yeah, this is Revelation chapter 12, verse 5. As she brought forth the man-child who was to rule all nations with the rod of iron. And her child was caught up into the Most High, into his throne. Okay, so the man-child is talking about who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Okay, and I was reading the scripture, man, and you know, it occurred to me that one of the main justifications that these Edomites use in the Talmud for sucking the blood off of a child's penis once it's circumcised, their main justification is that because it's not a man, because the child is not a man yet, that they feel justified to go ahead and suck the baby's blood from it's straight out of his penis, and this comes from the practice of the Talmud. Okay, it's been openly documented that it's in the Talmud, which they read. Okay, which is not a part of the scriptures. Okay, the Talmud is not biblical, so I'm not over here teaching the Talmud. I'm condemning it. Okay, it has nothing to do with biblical principles. All right, but the so-called Jews, all right, the vileness of Edom, okay, they teach that, you know, they teach among Edomites, they're the worst kind, okay, because you have Joe Six-Packs, they're homos too, you know, these little white boys, you know, they're weird, okay, but the so-called Jew white boy, oh hell no, they're the worst kind, they're the creepiest of creepy, okay, and that's why the scriptures call them the synagogue of Satan, okay? But I was reading the scripture and it's like, and you know, it takes a lot of humility to understand that even Yahushai, when he was a young man, he was a great individual. Even when he was a baby, he was still a great individual. So this really shows you and exemplifies, right, how vile these Edomites are, because their justification of that is, oh well, because it's not a man yet, it's not considered us laying with him. You know, these Edomites are sick people. Okay, and the understanding of this Bible is not given to them. Okay, you have to be of the Lord's anointed. You have to be an Israelite male, prefer, right? First and foremost. Okay, Israelite women too, of course, but unto you sons of men do I call. So mostly men, right? That's who the Lord is going to really be dealing with, because that's who can give the testimony, because men are the ones that have testicles, okay? But because the word testimony simply means testicles. Back in the day, you know, you would literally grab your testes and you would speak to the masses, you know. And it's funny because that organ, the testes, is literally the organ responsible for your voice going deep, you know. So it goes to show you, men were created, Israelite men, you were created to be preachers. You were created to speak like and roar like a lion, okay. Women are not meant to be teaching, man. They're not meant to be leading congregations. And the very fact that they can't get deep voices like males, it proves that, okay? It totally proves that women aren't supposed to be leading, because they can't raise their voices like a trumpet, okay? Their voice literally doesn't get deep, okay? You literally need nuts for your voice to get deep enough to speak to a crowd. It goes to show you, it's not the place of a woman to be speaking in public, okay? But yeah, it takes a lot of humility, and it takes a lot of respect, which these Edomites have neither, okay? Right? It takes a lot of humility and respect to acknowledge that Yahushua, even in his young infancy, was, okay, the chosen of the Almighty, okay, the only begotten Son, okay, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, right, which his name is Yahushua, okay, because I'm calling it in Hebrew, you know. You got guys that call him Christ, 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 but it's, the Lord finally gave us the Hebrew, man, you know, so we need to use it, you know. You got a lot of bug outs out there, man. And then that's why I don't fuck with some of you guys, you know. I don't hang out with you guys, okay? Because you guys, your doctrine is off. But anyways, let me see. Yes, it's Hebrews chapter 12, verse 16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. Okay, yeah, because these people, man, they're sick people, okay? You know, they're the vessels of wrath fit for destruction, you know? And, you know, you got clowns that'll say, oh, well, let's talk about Esau. Oh, you see, that says Esau. I don't say the nation of Edom. You know, that's Bible 101, man. Okay? This is Bible 101. When it's talking about Esau, it's talking about the progenitor. Okay? The seed line. Alright? When it's talking about Jacob, it's talking about the entire nation. It's talking about the nation of Israel. This is 101. Bible knowledge 101. Okay? You people, you ain't got it. You ain't deep. Okay? Yeah, fornicated because they're you know, they're wicked people, okay? And you know, the fact that they teach that the Talmud justifies them sucking baby penises, it shows you that these people are sick people. And these are the people that rule over you idiots, man, over you American people. But everyone's happy with it. And Tucker Carlson was bringing that out, okay? So this is open knowledge now. Knowledge is, and you people in your ignorance, you choose to be ignorant. The knowledge and the information is all there, okay? You know, I be watching that dude Tucker Carlson every now and then. We're in times now where you can leave comments, you know, to these top types of people, and they read them. You better believe they read them, okay? These famous people, these celebrities, okay? We're in times now where you can comment and you can prophesy right there, and then they'll listen. You know, they actually read some of these comments, man. Okay. Hebrews 12 and 17. For ye know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected, for he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears. Okay, yeah. Yeah, and that's Edom for you, always with the ulterior motives. Okay? Because these so-called white folks, they always have some ulterior motive. Slovakia. This thing, man. Some strong winds over here. Okay? But these people, they always have some ulterior ass motives. Okay? And that's why the scriptures tell you never to trust thine enemy. Okay? So, you know, the Lord's about to judge this serpent. Okay? Man, some strong winds. Slovakia. Okay? This phone's taking the beatings today. Shit. Alright? But, yeah, man. Like I was saying, okay, going back to these Edomites, all right. Yeah, it's a thing of always ulterior motives with these heathen, okay. So, the Lord's not dealing with these Caucasian folks, man. And you so-called blacks better wake up to that, okay. Alright, so-called blacks better wake up to the fact that these people are not your friends. You know, because I didn't know this, but racism is actually very natural. Alright? Racism is very natural. Let me get that scripture. I see men as trees, because people are like trees, man. And when you study trees, plants, they compete against one another. Okay? So you got these clowns talking about the Lord loves everyone, you know? But when you study plants, the plants don't even love each other. Okay? It's a thing of war even among plants. This is Mark 8:24. Okay? And he looked up and said, I see men as trees walking. After that, he put his hands again upon his eyes and made him look, and he was restored and saw every man clearly. Okay? So, this man saw men as trees because people are trees. Okay? It could have been that the Lord gave him some sort of x-ray vision for like a split second, man. Okay? And he saw the human brain, the anatomy of a human brain under an MRI scan. Okay? Who knows? Who knows what exactly he saw, but whatever it is he saw, him in his eyes, he described as best as he could, and he saw men as trees. Okay? So if people are like trees, we need to study trees. We need to study plants. Okay? And plants come from seeds. People come from sperm. Okay? Our fathers popped our mothers. They plowed our mothers, okay? They planted seed, they nutted in them, okay? And out we came out. We you know, our mothers got pregnant from us, and we came out. So we're a lot like trees. And women are like land, okay? You see what I'm saying? So we are trees, okay? And plants get planted with seeds, do they not? That's why the saying goes, when you're teaching young teenagers about sex ed, what do they say? They call it the birds and the bees. What the hell do the birds and bees have anything to do with sex ed? Because they're the ones that pollinate the female plants from the male plants, and they go and take the seed from one plant over to another. Okay? Because we are plants. We're like plants, man. We're trees. Okay? And if trees being competitive over resources are like that, how much more us? Okay? Things get very racial when resources are on the line. See, you niggas, man, you always try to defend these Edomites, okay, these so-called white folks, but these people will betray you the second that there's some resources on the line. And if they have to pick between you and them, right, you and then the resources, they're gonna go with the resources. Okay? Ain't no white boy gonna catch no bullet for you. That's all a bunch of Hollywood bullshit. Okay? These other nations don't like you. Okay? So you need to start being competitive like trees. Okay? Because trees, scientists have found that they purposely block the resources from other plants and they keep it amongst themselves. Okay? So they literally look out for their own kind. And that shows you too how defective you blacks and you Latins are. Because you can't really look out for one another. Okay? Yeah, when you see forests of trees, the roots, they actually they communicate. Trees communicate with one another. Okay? So there's a network of trees. Okay? All these trees, this is like an economy of trees. All right? Scientists have actually found that trees indeed communicate. Okay? Which, when you look up that word communicate, it means united. All right. So I mean, that was it on that. Okay, if we're like supposed to be trees. Okay, we're likened unto trees. We should be competitive against the nation of Edom because we see how wicked, okay, and vile these people are. Okay. You shouldn't be letting your daughters get with no weirdo white boy, okay? You shouldn't be letting them near your house, okay? You shouldn't be all up and around them and shit, okay? No, hell no. Malachi 1 and 3. Well, sorry, 1. The burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, saith the Lord, yet ye say, okay. This thing don't fall again. I have loved you, saith the Lord, yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother? Yeah, because that's what our people, you know, even though they don't literally say that, sometimes they do. That's deep down, that's what they're thinking. You know, they're thinking that the Most High forsook us or you know. And well, to those of you of the house of Saul, yeah, the Lord has forsaken you. Okay, there's nothing you can do to really get out of that position. But to the house of David, no, the Lord's with us, man. And there's nothing we can do to really get out of that position. Nothing. I mean nothing. We can't do anything. You know? The Lord answers us by dreams at times, you know, and you read the scriptures how King Saul, okay, he wanted the Lord to reach him by some manner or some means of communication. And you read the scriptures and the Almighty, he didn't answer him by neither prophet nor dream, okay, nor Urim and Thummim, okay. The Lord didn't answer King Saul for anything, okay. He totally forsook him. Matter of fact, let me get that, man. Because some of you niggas, you know what? You know what? I mean, it's time to get a little deep, man. You know? Some of you cats ain't gonna make it. You know, not everything is sweet. Not everything is easy. Okay? And that's part of the bitterness of this role is a lot of our own people are not gonna make it. Okay? I forgot to bring the string, man. Okay. Though it falls 7 times, okay, I will catch it. Though it, you know, though the righteous slip, you know, but Let me see here, okay? Because the bitter part of this Bible, there's sweet things in this Bible, you know, sweet like smoothie shakes, but there's also bitter things like horseradish, right? There's just some really, really bitter things in this. Part of the bitter is, well, you know, sweet too. You know, the punishment of the wicked, right? Absolutely. But yeah, the bitter part is that even guys among the circumcision, guys that you thought are your friends, some of them dudes ain't gonna make it, man. Okay. This is 1 Samuel chapter 28, verse 6. And when Saul inquired of the Lord answered him not, neither by dreams, nor by Urim, nor by prophets. Okay? Yeah. And some of you guys are going to suffer that same fate. So I was reading in Malachi, yeah, you know, some of our people say that the Most High forsook them. And you know what? For some of you niggas, the Lord has forsaken you, man. Okay? There's nothing you can do to really get on the good graces of the Almighty anymore. You're cooked. Sos cocinado, like they would say in Spanish. Okay? Your mind is fried. Your software is cooked. Your brain, it's extremely imbalanced and stressed out because the Lord gave you up to demons. Okay? And that's what happened to King Saul. King Saul was stressed out of his mind, man. That was all them demons and them imbalances getting inside his head. Okay? Because he wasn't properly balanced, because he didn't listen, right? He was rebellious, okay, concerning the order given that he was supposed to execute to Amalek, but he didn't, okay? He just wanted to go and do his own thing. So the Lord totally rejected his ass, okay? And that's what's gonna happen to a lot of you guys, okay? Some of you cats ain't right, man. So what's gonna happen is the Lord's gonna reject you, and you're gonna suffer the same fate as King Saul. Okay? But for Lord willing, those of us of the house of David, you know, those of us that essentially we are of the elect and we're of the first fruits, there's nothing we can do to get out of our positions. Okay? You know? Even if I wanted to, right? If I'm of the elect, there's nothing I can do. I'm stuck in there, okay? Because I was there since the beginning of time, since the beginning of creation, right along with the Lord, and I beheld his glory, as it is written, okay? But, yeah, man, that's crucial. So some of you cats are God-forsaken. Some of you guys really are, you know? But, I mean, you know, for us of the house of David, the Most High has not forsaken us, okay? And indeed, the Most High loves us, okay? The Most High will continue to encourage us in this path and get better, right? Because you should be growing in grace, man. You know, like a tree grows its roots. You know? If we're likened unto trees, you're supposed to grow your roots. You know, that way you can stay strong and firm when shit hits the fan. Okay? Because, you know, these heathen, they're growing their roots, man. Okay? If these heathen are growing their roots, how much more us? Okay? We're supposed to be better than the other nations. Right? You know, and I mean by roots, they growing their roots because they're coming up in resources, man. They're getting wealthier and wealthier. You know, the Spirit of the Lord gets on you and you start entering into topics like gold and silver. You shouldn't be having money problems anymore, play it. You know? You should understand finance. You should be a very financially literate Joe. Okay? These people, they're fucking idiots, all right? These American idiots don't know shit. They're still putting money into 401ks. And they're still getting vested by the system because they don't know anything. You know, they don't understand inflation. They don't understand hurdle rates. They don't understand fiat currencies. You know? You're supposed to be on the level. We're the Lord's anointed, man. We're way smarter than that, man. We have heavenly knowledge, man. So yeah, even on that level, we grow our roots too. But at the same time, it goes deep because game is not necessarily godliness either. Some people get it twisted. We're not here to sell you some sensual dream, okay? But we are on the level though. Believe that. We are on the level. Believe that. Know that. Okay? So yeah, man. So King Saul was cooked. Okay? You know, and the Urim and Thummim, when it says Urim right there, Urim in Hebrew means lights. That's where you get that word Uriel from. Okay? Lights as in plural. Okay? It could have been that this Urim and Thummim, right? Whatever it was technology that our ancient forefathers used to judge matters that were difficult to discern. Okay? The modern day Urim and Thummim is referring to this software, this technology, these cell phones. Okay? Because the Urim and Thummim, whatever it was using lights and perfections. Okay, which this technology, all this software, all this cell phones and computer tablets and desktop screens and movie theater screens and whatnot, okay, they all started with gemstones, okay, gemstones like rubies and sapphires, okay. The original computer screens, okay, were of that, okay. Were made of gemstones. Now these modern cell phones, they don't use that anymore. But the original computer systems were in fact made of gemstones. Okay, whatever the Urim and Thummim was, it would have been very logical that it could have been some sort of gemstone, some sort of technology that they were using. Okay, that it was lights and perfection. Okay, and the priesthood used to use it to discern matters that were very difficult to judge. Okay? So when King Saul tried to use this Urim and Thummim, the Lord did not give the inspiration to the Urim and Thummim. Okay? The Lord did not work through the Urim and Thummim to give that individual answers. Okay? And it's funny because what are these cell phones nowadays? Are not people looking for answers on their cell phones? When you look at the news, what are you looking at? You're looking at your cell phone, man. You're looking at desktops. You're looking at computer screens and televisions, right? That's the Urim and the Thummim. Lights and perfection. Every pixel, every screen, every LED light that comes, that shines, it's giving you answers, is it not? When you go to Google, what are you looking for? You're looking for answers, are you not? This is the Urim and Thummim. This Bible was way ahead of its time, man. And you people are about to find that out. But the hard way, okay? I'm here to prophesy your destruction. All of you dumbass Americans, okay? 2/3 of you gonna die in the melting pot. These other nations are cooked anyways, okay? I'm a prophet of doom. All right, it's 1 Samuel 28:7. Then said Saul unto his servants, seek me a woman that hath the familiar spirit, that I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servant said to him, behold, there is a woman that hath the familiar spirit at Ender. This is how cooked some of you guys are going to be, man. All right? You guys are fucking fried. When the microchip comes out, you guys are going to totally lean to that shit, man. The same way Saul leaned into that left-hand side. Okay? He got deeper and deeper into gross darkness, man. He waxed worse and worse. Okay? You people are going to look for answers from microchip tech. Okay, AI giving you some demonic ass answers and shit. Because the Lord's not with you people, man. A lot of you people are gonna get the mercies of Saul. None. Okay, you're not even mercy. I want to say mercy. The fate of Saul. Okay, you're gonna suffer the same fate as him because you are not chosen. But let me go back to Malachi, man. Okay, going back to the vileness of Edom, right? Because some of you niggas are God forsaken. The Most High has forsaken you. He's blocked your ears from getting this truth. And the ones that some of you do may listen, you can't get it right. You're not precise with it. You know? This is Malachi chapter 1 and 2. I have loved you, saith the Lord, yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Yeah. Okay. Those of you of the house of David, the elect, okay, salutations, shalom, peace, and mercy be upon you, okay? The Lord does love you. The Lord does love you. Don't ever think otherwise, okay? You members, you holy members of the elect, okay? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord? Yet I loved Jacob. Yeah, because the progenitor of the Edomite nation is Esau, okay? And the Almighty has a bone to pick with that entire race of people, okay? They're not the chosen line. Okay? They would be the descendants of the serpent, okay? But they came back because, remember, the flood happened. They came back via Esau, okay? Esau copulated into women, and then he had sons, and then their sons had sons, and, you know, and his grandsons had grandsons, right? Their nation populated. Okay? And out of that nation, essentially, that is the Edomite people, the descendants of Esau, Edom. Okay, they're not white people. No, they're not. You know, because white. That's why I call them so-called white. The color white is something like you see on my watch. Okay, color. This is the color of white. Okay, this right here in between this. These people are red. Okay, their skin turns translucent. It's a red, clear skin that they have at times. Okay, they're red. And it's funny too because when they're cold, they get purple. You know, their noses get all purple, their ears get purple. Okay. They're red, man. They get sunburned. They get so red they turn orange. Okay. They're the only nation that came out without pigment. Okay. And now the other nations also, you know, follow after their ways. Because I didn't know this, man, but women in Taiwan and women in Japan too, it's very trendy to be light skinned over there. Okay. It's very trendy to be smooth skinned without a beard, with no facial hair. Okay. You know, people in Japan and Taiwan, you know, they follow after the ways of these white folks, so-called white folks, okay? But they're really red, okay? They're not white, man. And as far as us, they try to call the tribe of Judah blacks, but they're not really blacks either. They're just different shades of brown, okay? See, these devils, they play with words, okay? Malachi 1 and 3. And I hated Esau. I laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. They shall call them the border of wickedness and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever. Okay? Yeah. So the Lord's going to totally destroy America because America is essentially the house of the thief. The house of these so-called white folks. Okay? America predominantly is Caucasian people. Okay, so when you go to Kentucky, especially you go up north, you know, it's a lot more in those colder states. It's a lot more Caucasian people because this is predominantly their dome. Okay, this is America's predominantly them. All right, and it's a few of us Israelites that you know make up parts of America. Okay, you know, you so-called blacks, your hoods don't stretch out too far. So-called blacks need to populate more. All right. So-called blacks. So-called black man. That shit's funny, man. All right, you Judites, man. So-called Negroes, man. So-called blacks. That shit's funny. All right, but you know that's how I bring it out, man. You gotta have fun with this, man. You know, scriptures call us lively stones, man. You gotta be a lively stone. Some of you guys more dead than who knows what. You know. Yeah, let me get this, man. Malachi 1:6. A son honoreth his father, and a servant his master. If then I be a father, where is mine honor? And if I be a master, where is my fear? See what I'm saying, man? The Lord wants fear from you guys, man. So-called blacks don't fear the Most High, man. So-called Latins don't fear the Most High. If the Most High is our father, where's his honor? If the Most High is a master, where is his fear? Okay? Why do you people not fear the Most High? You people don't read the scriptures? You people don't get into this? Are you people so shallow? Are you so ignorant? Yeah, that's what it is. That's exactly what it is. So-called blacks and Latins are very shallow people, man. Niggas don't know shit. As if the Most High didn't drown the entire planet. As if the Most High didn't destroy Sodom and Gomorrah with fire. You know, you people are twisted, man. Okay? O priests that despise my name, and ye say, wherein have we despised thy name? You see? Hell, you got guys that are so bugged out that they know the Most High's name, but they don't call upon it. You know? They're still calling on that fabricated Christ stuff. That Christ juice, you know, that Jesus juice. That GMO adulterated Jesus juice, okay? You niggas still calling on Jesus Christ, man. When it's very clear as daylight that his name could not have been that because the English language didn't even exist back then when we was walking the scene. If the Lord returned right now and he heard you calling him that shit, he'd be like, who the hell is this guy? I don't know this dude. You know, because he doesn't go by that name. Numbnuts. Okay? His name has to be in Hebrew, period. It's just logical. But, you know, we're seeing that you so-called blacks and Hispanics, you're not logical, man. You're not people of knowledge. You're people of feelings. A lot of you niggas got some bitch spirits in you, man. You know how women think? They think with feelings, man. Okay? But yeah, man, the Lord's gonna totally destroy Edom, okay? These so-called white folks, all right? And their twisted reasoning of the scriptures, okay? Going back to what I was saying, okay? About that whole Talmud and then the sucking of baby blood, okay? This is Leviticus 18 and 22. Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind. It is an abomination. Exactly. See? And let me tell you something, man. Okay? Lord's people, even when they're babies, they're young men. Okay? So that's all abomination, man. You heathen, you don't respect anything. Okay? But that's these Edomites, man. That's what they do. Okay? They don't respect anything. All right? Because I'm telling you, the whole reasoning behind them sucking baby blood from uncircumcised or circumcised baby penises, their reasoning behind that is that the child's not a man yet. When we read in the scriptures clearly call Yahushua a man-child. It goes to show you that even when the Lord's anointed is a baby, he's already considered a young man, because that's how superior our people are. Okay? Now these scriptures, the understanding of these scriptures is not given to you fucking Edomites, man. Alright? I'm gonna ride you Edomites till the wheels fall off, alright? I'm gonna ride you so-called white boys till the wheels fall off. You know? The understanding's not given to Edom. Okay? I'm gonna roast you so-called white boys. Leviticus 18 and 23, neither shalt thou lie with any beast to defile thyself therewith, neither shall any woman stand before a beast to lie down thereto. It is confusion. Okay, yeah. You see? So, I mean, the Lord's not with all that, all right? And that's all you so-called white boys, man. You're into that weird shit, man. Okay? So-called Asians, they'll treat dogs and animals like food, you know? And the so-called white boys, you'll treat a dog like a sexual partner, okay? Leviticus 18:24, defile not ye yourselves in any of these things, for in all these nations are defiled, which I cast out before you. You see? So the Lord's eventually he's gonna judge you heathen nations, man. Because you heathenistic nations, you're participating in all that. Okay? Yeah, this world's about to learn righteousness, man. It's about to. Alright? But their hurtful works have to be fulfilled. These things, these people have to cause their offenses so that the Almighty can be justified in destroying their asses, man. Okay? For wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth. Oh, it's like 2 Ezra chapter 15, verse 6. 2 Ezra chapter 15, verse 6. For wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Therefore saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit. You see, so let's break that down, man. Wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Yeah, because it was prophecy that these people were going to get wicked, man. All right. The deceived and the deceiver are his. So the Lord has these people in a deceived state of mind. That way he's justified in destroying their asses. All right. This is all one big lesson from the Almighty. And essentially, okay, essentially what's going to happen is in the future, we're going to reference all of this, and we're going to see what happens when you rule the planet in utter wickedness, when you rule the planet by way of covetous practices, okay? When you rule the planet with evil intentions and evil inside you, all right? We're going to see how unsustainable it is, you know, and that way the other nations, they can see and learn, right? They can see and learn for themselves, like, oh yeah, that way doesn't work, you know? You have to practice the laws of the Israelites, because without them, look at what happens, you know? And then we reference all of this shit, you know? But neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, 2 Esdras 15 and 11. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. It goes to show you there's another Egypt, man. I keep telling you, man, there's an Egypt 2.0, where the Israelites are enslaved underneath the Egyptians yet again. Okay? But this time we're from another nation. Okay? This time it's the nation of Edom. They are the modern day Egyptians. And the Lord made it a parable and a mystery to you people. That way you couldn't get it. You know? Because this time the Lord's not going to rescue all of you, man. See, the original Egypt, the Lord was working with all our people, man. You know, you had niggas that the Lord rescued out of Egypt, you know? That's a trip, man. I've been thinking about that, you know? But this time, oh hell no, man. The Lord's not going to rescue any wicked of our people. You know, that means a lot of people are about to drop dead, man. It's going to be like that movie, that one movie, Edge of Extinction, where it was like only a few people, and it was a manly ass world, you know? People were just doing their own things, forming their own groups and shit, you know? You know, when shit hits the fan, people form groups. Little mini empires start forming, you know? People get groups because that's how you survive, right? Right? And it's gonna be like that movie, The Road, you know? You're always constantly on the move and shit. Your woman might bug out on you, you know? You know, in that movie, The Road, that bitch just went and just died somewhere. She totally, like, lost faith in her man, okay? So, you know, it's gonna get bad out here, man. All right? Verse 12, 2 Esdras 15 and 12. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and the punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seeds shall fail through the blasting and hail, and with fearful constellation. Yeah, because America's going to get it the worst, man. I mean, America's going to absolutely get it the worst, okay? This place is Egypt. That's what you have in the back of your dollar. You have a fucking pyramid, man. Literally a pyramid, you know? Yeah. And that's not it. That's not the only reference that we're using. Because you'll have clowns out there that'll say that, oh, that's insufficient evidence to prove that America's Egypt. Okay? The word America literally means bitter. And it's funny because during the Passover, the Israelites, according to Exodus chapter 12, we ate the bitter herb. because it was a representation of the captivity of the Egyptian Empire, okay? Because those Egyptians had us under some brutal ass slavery, okay? To this day, these people can't figure out why or how the fucking pyramids were made. Whatever the hell our people were doing, it must have been some next level shit, man. It's always our people that mastermind, you know, different craftsmanship, okay? The original artificers were Israelites, man. We were the original artificers, you know? It's always up to us to have to teach these other nations how to do certain shit, man. You know? How to build things, how to make things, you know? The only reason these heathen came up with all their military hardware essentially was because of our slavery, okay? But yeah, so America's Egypt, the America literally means bitter, amargo, and then the fucking Egyptian pyramid is literally on the back of the dollar bill. You can't make this stuff up, okay? And then these so-called white folks, with the image that they portray of success, is what? It's them with the fucking tie and the suit. And when you look at ancient Egyptian attire, their way of success during their empire, during their reign, okay, was them with the knot of Isis. Okay, they literally used to wear a knot of Isis that looks extremely similar to that of a suit and a tie, you know? So the Egyptians had their own way of dressing, but America resembles that a lot, man, okay? And when you go to Washington, okay, you see a bunch of fucking Egyptian symbolisms, okay? So what on earth does Egyptian culture have anything to do with American history? You people need to start scrutinizing these things, man. Start asking some questions, man. This is why the scripture says, fight for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall strive unto the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for you. You know, you gotta strive for the knowledge of truth. You gotta dig deep into the facts. You know? And that's why I look so crazy to these people, because they think, you know, they think I'm crazy, but in reality, I'm the one bringing out the facts. But at a deeper level, it doesn't matter, you know? Because even if they did understand this, if they're not of the elect, they're cooked anyways, man. And the Lord purposely has angels blocking out their ears so that their understanding fails. Okay? These people ain't right, man. Okay? The masses are not prophesied to get into this. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 17. I'll start at 16. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings, their princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Yeah. That's talking about America, but also different parts of the world. Okay? It's going to be extreme civil unrest. Okay? But when America falls, man, this shit is going to fall so dramatically. Because it's so huge. It's such a big system and a big empire. You know, so when it falls, it's going to fall hard. Okay? But there's going to be a lot of sedition among men. People are going to totally lose respect for law and order. Okay? It's going to be like that movie, the show, The Last of Us. Okay? There was that one scene in the beginning, right? Where the episode where his daughter got shot, okay, by some troop, some sort of martial law troop, and shit was totally hitting the fan. I mean, things went as bad as they could get. Okay? And in that movie, they were trying to go from one city over to another, but they weren't allowed to because they had blocked them in. You see? So anytime you see these movies, man, you got to analyze what's going on. And 9 times out of 10, they usually always blockade a city because that's what the military is about to do. They're going to blockade LA. They're going to blockade Orange County. They're going to blockade Chino. You know, San Bernardino. It's all going to be blockaded, man. Okay? A man shall desire to go into a city and will not be able to. So it's prophecy that martial law is going to be set into place. Second Esdras 15:18, for because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled. The houses shall be troubled, shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Yeah. Yeah, you have a lot of proud people out here, man. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation. Verse 20, behold, saith the Lord, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me, which are from the rising of the sun, from the south, from the east, and Libanus, to turn themselves one against another, and repay the things that they have done to them. Like as they do yet this day unto my chosen, so will I do also, and recompense in their bosom. Thus saith the Lord power, my right hand shall not spare the sinners, and my sword shall not cease over them that shed innocent blood upon the earth. Yeah, because there's a lot of wickedness happening all throughout the planet. And now we're living in this very globalized world where access, to essentially the world is all in your fingertips with this technology. Okay? So there's so much wickedness happening on the back end of things, man. Okay? It's just a lot of wickedness happening out here. A lot of trafficking of humans, okay? A lot of pedophilia, a lot of whoredoms from these women, a lot of adultery, man. So much adultery, A lot of faggotism, okay? A lot of extortion, a lot of robbery and thieving. Just so much bullshit from these people, man, okay? All these wicked inventions, all this fucking technology and shit, okay? It's gonna get out of control, okay? It's gonna catch up to these people. But anyways, with that, man, I'm gonna say call Allah ilaha Yahweh Yahushai, okay? Abad Babal, Abad Adawam, okay? And barakatah to all the Ahyam doing this work sincerely and in truth, okay? Until next time, I'll say Shalom.